When I was running for president, it was cold when they did the first debate. There was snow on the ground. Here in the middle of summer, they're having a debate in New Hampshire.
That happened to me, too, when I ran. It's a joke.
Keep going with that. I mean, snow is much better. But anyhow, 7 Republican presidential candidates took to the stage last night in New Hampshire, debating everything from the economy to abortion to Sharia law.
Well, our very own David Brody was there, and he actually has this look at what the candidates had to say.
The night began with a bang as Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann grabbed the spotlight.
I filed today my paperwork to seek the office of the presidency of the United States.
Bachmann joined 6 others in the debate, but the main target wasn't on stage. He was in the White House.
The Obama administration is an anti-jobs, anti-business, anti-American energy, destructive force.
And as for President Obama's health care law,
I will not rest until I repeal Obamacare. It's a promise. Take it to the bank, cash the check.
Bachmann's announcement and take charge performance caught the attention of mainstream media types.
She is the one candidate, as we've seen, and you've seen it as you've been out, who excites conservative audiences in ways that some of the other sort of established candidates do not.
As for that issue of health care, Mitt Romney found himself defending the plan that he presided over as governor of Massachusetts. It required all individuals to purchase health insurance, something that has been compared to Obama's new health care law.
Ours was a state plan, a state solution.
Tim Pawlenty recently labeled the Massachusetts plan Obamnicare.
Using the term Obamnicare was a reflection of the president's comments that he designed Obamacare on the Massachusetts health care plan.
As for the big issue of entitlements, the candidates agreed something must be done.
Medicare is going to be cut starting in 2014 by the federal government.
While the economy is the #1 voter concern, social issues like faith in the public square attracted a lot of attention.
Congress should never prohibit the expression of your Christian faith in a public place.
On the topic of Islam, Herman Cain had to explain a past statement that he may not be comfortable choosing Muslims to work in his administration.
I would not be comfortable because you have peaceful Muslims and then you have militant Muslims, those that are trying to kill us.
He got a defender in Newt Gingrich.
If you're not prepared to be loyal to the United States, you will not serve in my administration, period.
What about radical Islamic Sharia law being applied as a defense in American courtrooms?
I do not believe in Sharia law in American courts.
We're not going to have Sharia law applied in U.S. courts. That's never going to happen.
On the life issue, Rick Santorum took on the question whether Romney's change from pro-choice to pro-life was believable.
I think an issue should be, in looking at any candidate, is looking at the authenticity of that candidate and looking at their record over time and what they fought for.
People have had a chance to look at my record. I believe people understand that I'm firmly pro-life.
The GOP candidates are going to do all of this again in just a couple of months out in Iowa. That Republican field at that time could look a lot different. Rudy Giuliani may be in. Governor Rick Perry of Texas may be in as well. And, of course, John Huntsman, the former governor of Utah, will definitely be in by that time. And so the economy and the GOP field, very much the same, in a state of flux. David Brody, CBN News, in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Still too early. It's hot. But anyhow, it's better to be in New Hampshire in the heat than in New Hampshire in the snow, because it gets snowy and it gets cold. I recall one place up there, it was minus 20 degrees in an early morning, you know. But anyhow, New Hampshire, it's an interesting state, but I don't think it has the clout it used to have. It used to be very, very determinative. But Mitt Romney, it's make or break with him. He's got to win New Hampshire. And if he doesn't or doesn't win it handily, it's going to be looked as upon that he's faltered. I think he skipped the Ames straw ballot in Iowa, which was a smart move. He won it by spending. He spent $1 million, $2 million last time around. It was a waste of money. But anyhow, you can keep up with the latest from David Brody on the presidential race by checking out the Brody File on CBNNews.com. Well, let's go to Lee Webb with more of the rest of our news. Lee?
Pat, President Obama reaffirms his focus on job creation during a trip to North Carolina. That battleground state has an unemployment rate of 9.7%. Mr. Obama went there Monday to lay out plans to jumpstart job growth. The president also met with members of his job council, including top CEOs. You saw Jeffrey Immelt there of GE. The president argues that the current economic challenges didn't happen overnight, and it could take a while to get the country back to where it needs to be.
Jobs were being created. They were not being created fast enough.
Republicans counter by saying that the White House doesn't have people with ideas to create private sector jobs. It's interesting, Pat, that President Obama also said that those shovel-ready projects weren't quite as shovel-ready as they had hoped they would be.
It sounded so nice. We're going to put money into shovel-ready projects. Well, they didn't have any shovel-ready projects. I mean, it's, again, smoke and mirrors. Ladies and gentlemen, the American people are saying we want reality. We want jobs. We want to go to work. We want the economy to move, and it's not moving. Well, Lee, let's go on with more politics.
Texas governor and potential Republican presidential candidate Rick Perry is organizing a national prayer rally. That day-long prayer and fasting event is called The Response, scheduled for August 6th in Houston. Governor Perry says Americans must call on Jesus to guide them through these, quote, unprecedented struggles. Governors across the country are invited to participate in the prayer rally. Some criticize the event, though, saying Perry should not use his office to promote a religious gathering. North Korea may have succeeded in creating a miniature nuclear device. That's according to South Korea's defense minister. If true, the new technology could allow North Korea to place an atomic warhead on a rocket. The defense minister says the North has had time to succeed in miniaturization, but he didn't offer any evidence to back up his claims. North Korea tried to detonate nuclear devices in 2006 and 2009, but Pat, weapons experts don't consider either of those attempts a success.
Well, Lee, the thing that they've got is those incredible missiles. They've got that Taepodong-2 missile, which has the potential to reach the west coast of the United States, from what I gather. I mean, it's a tremendous weapon, and if they put a nuclear warhead, even a small bomb on that thing, it could cause untold damage. And it's a rogue state. Sooner or later, the nations of the world need to move against it. It's like a prison. The poor people of North Korea have suffered. They're stunted in their growth. They literally are shorter than their counterparts in the South. They weigh less because they don't have enough food to eat. It's a terrible mess. And that little chubby dictator who runs the country brings in prostitutes and brings in imported wine and brings in all kinds of delicacies while his people are starving. It's an absolute scandal. Lee?
In Great Britain, even very young children are dealing with obesity. The London Telegraph reports that hundreds of children under the age of 3 have been admitted to British hospitals to be treated for obesity-related diseases that normally don't appear until later in life. 2 children, ages 6 and 8, have even suffered strokes that were apparently related to their weight. Some of the children have had gastric surgery, and one doctor says there are many more obese children who aren't receiving treatment. And doctors say many of them are being fed a diet of junk food. Pat?
Well, it used to be the shipping fish and chips at the Wimpy's and all the various other places in London were not too unhealthy. Now, one woman apparently was chopping up chips, which are French fries, a lot of sauce, chopping them up and put them in the baby cereal, and a year-old baby.
Listen, I've heard of worse. I've actually heard of people putting soda in baby bottles. Like little baby bottles, and they'll put, like, you know, soda in the baby bottles where there should be milk or water.
Well, they're doing it, and the Brits are paying the price. You know, I don't know where we get all these stories about England, but boy, we sure get a passel of them. That breaks your heart. One more time.
It breaks my heart. England's a good place. We like them.
In New York, it's down to the wire for same-sex marriage. With just days left in the current legislative session, attention is focused on 4 undecided Republican senators. All other senators either have committed with 29 supporting same-sex marriage or 29 opposed. The New York State Assembly has already voted in favor of it. Governor Andrew Cuomo and Mayor Michael Bloomberg have publicly campaigned to legalize gay marriage. At a press conference Monday, the governor used his influence to make a last-minute push.
This is an issue of social justice, in my opinion. This is an issue of social progress. And the Democratic Party has always stood firmly on the side of social progress and rooting out injustice.
Christian clergy leaders in New York hold a rally on the steps of City Hall today to try to head off efforts to legalize same marriage. We'll have more on this story on tomorrow's 700 Club. Harold Camping is in the hospital recovering from a mild stroke. Last month, Camping predicted that the rapture would occur and all true Christians would be taken from the earth. When nothing happened, Camping said that it was actually a spiritual judgment day. His new prediction is that the world will end on October 21st. You can always get the latest from CBN News by going to our website at cbnnews.com.